Come follow the brick wall. It's your girl Eva K, and I'm ready to eat. Hey, who ready to eat with me? Who ready to come bread with me? Let's break bread. Come break bread with me. Let's break bread. We about to eat this food and get fed. Come break bread with me. Let's break bread. Now bow your head, hey, cause we gotta say the grace, cause we about to eat. We about to eat. I can't wait to eat. Let's eat, big girls. Are you ready to eat? Come eat with me and let's talk. I want to get all in your business. What you gotta say? What you gotta say? I'm ready to laugh and I'm ready to play. Come on and break bread with your girl Eva K. Let's break bread. Hey, I am your host Eva K, and I'm here with Arthur, Mr. Walter, and Mr. Jeff, who is a producer. So honey, we about to get it in. And we are at IDK, so big shout out to Young Boss on the strip for letting us use her beautiful, beautiful, beautiful establishment. And she's going to be bringing us out some goodies. I wanted to keep this a secret because this is my favorite. But Walter requested it. So, Walter, how you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
About to be real good after this drink.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You're going to have to project your voice because you're a little far from the camera.
Just keeping it simple. Just, what do you want to know?
Okay, what I want to know. First of all, you went to Central, so that's a strike against you already.
That's one strike. Everybody knows that's a strike.
So let me tell y'all how I found out about Mr. Walter. On the news, I seen this young man who came out of prison. You did what, 15 years?
13 and a half.
13 and a half years.
Jesus.
And he wrote a book. He was reading the Goosebumps books in prison.
Yeah.
And he was like, this lane, I can do better than this. And he wrote a book. So do you talk about your journey, how you got incarcerated and all that?
I don't usually talk about it much unless it's usually brought up. Nobody would really know that I was locked up unless I told them.
Okay.
But the story goes that right after high school, I didn't graduate on time. So I went back to the little center school on Fifth Avenue. I believe it's on Fifth Avenue, somewhere over there.
Yeah, the adult school.
Yeah, the adult school. And I got my diploma in night school. But, you know, at that time, I'd already been running around, wilding out, doing all those types of things. And me and a buddy of mine got in trouble for robbing. My dad, yeah, we were robbing and all that kind of stuff.
I would have never, just talking to you, I would have never guessed.
Exactly. So that's what it was. So at that time, we got ourselves in trouble. We got out of that. Okay? But I got back in trouble. And went to prison for a 13 and a half year bid on a 15-year sentence. But the time that I was going, I just decided I did not want to be a full-on criminal or lifelong criminal. I just didn't want to live it there because I thought that moving around I could be so much more. You know, plus my parents, brothers, sisters, you know, family members, friends, everybody's looking at you like, man, that was such a waste, a disappointment. And I was like, well, I could get back. I think I could bounce back. I think I could just put a little. And there, me and my old coach from high school, we actually had a conversation while I was incarcerated. I called him one day, and I reminded him of a time we were losing a football game to a team we shouldn't have been losing to. And that just really gave me like a metaphor because I had already started writing anyway. So metaphors and biblical thinking, you know how to use parables and things. You start thinking, you know, I can see it that way. So I was like, okay, I got myself into a situation I should not have. And that was just like us that night where we had gotten ourselves down 13 or 14 points, but we pulled out 2 trick plays that we never ran any other time that I've been in high school. Mm-hmm. And those are the 2 plays that won the game. So I got to thinking, okay, writing is my trick play. This is something nobody would ever see me doing in life. You know, people are looking at me now like, wow, writer, because, you know, I was always running around chasing girls, most flirtatious in high school, so playing sports and things. Wasn't really thinking about any kind of educational stuff. So reading is something that inmates all do. So you're going to have a book in your hand at some point. And I got 13 and a half years to do, so I'm going to have a lot of books in my hand. So I had to make the choice of what kind of books you want to read, what kind of person you want to read. So I started familiarizing myself with certain authors, certain characters that they come up with. And there were some that black authors wrote, there were some that white authors wrote that I was like, man, that's a cool dude, you know? Like there was an Easy Rawlins character in the Walter Mosley books. Denzel played him in Devil in a Blue Dress. Everybody's seen that movie. That's Easy Rawlins. And you start reading this book, and I remember that. You like And I like how he moves. I like it, but you're thinking somebody had to put that together. His movements, his mannerisms, and his friend Mouse, the cold-blooded killer. You're like, man, who comes up with this? You're like, man, that's kind of cool to kind of like guide everybody to play God in your own little realm right there, you know. So there were other authors like Stone Barrington is another character. He likes fine bourbons and knows how to match a wine with certain meats and things. You're like, man, I like that character. So you get in, and you got a lot of time. Admittedly, I got into a lot of fights in prison. You wouldn't know that either, but I got into a lot of fights in prison. And one of them landed me in the hole for 6 months straight. So I just decided, I'm not even coming out of the room. I did like 24 hours a day for like 6 months. I'm like, I ain't coming out. They like, Martin, you want recreation? I was like, what time is it? It's 6 in the morning. I'm good. I mean, you're giving me recreation, the sun ain't up. So, I mean, that's lost a lot of time there, but I got to think. So when you're in prison, you get to lose yourself in your imagination. Mm-hmm. It can be good, it can be bad, and that's where the devil likes to hide out. That's where this book came from. Your imagination. Okay, I got you right now in a vulnerable state.
The devil deceives.
Absolutely. So this is my time to deceive you. So okay, you write letters. Okay, you're chasing your girlfriend. She doesn't write you back. Oh, she's doing this, and that. She might be at home just busy.
So your mind wanders.
And I'm telling you, an idle mind truly is the devil's playground. But once I started actually reading books and getting educated about things, man, I listened to Islamic stuff, I listened to Christianity, I listened to some of the Catholics, and I started to realize, I'm like, man, a lot of these things interweave a lot of ways. They're different, but then if you look at people's backgrounds, you start to understand what's really going on around you, but then you start to understand that things are really energetic. It's really about good, positive vibes. And it's like when I met you, I felt good energy instantly. So
same with you.
I read a book in 2007 or 8, whatever the White Sox won the championship. Sometime around that area. I met a guy named Arthur. He was from Chicago, and he was the biggest counterfeiter of the last quarter century. And he was on a show called American Greed or something like that. Mm-hmm. So we're talking, I'm thinking he's full of it when he's telling me who he is, but I found out, man, this dude really is him. So he gave me a book called The Secret about law of attraction, and I was like, okay, I could really kind of draw things to me if like you keep that vibe positive, and I think that's what they're talking about with faith in the Bible. When you believe in something, nice.
This is EKE. We got gumbo. You see that?
Gumbo.
Honey, I ain't heard you say more than 2 words. You just perked right on up. Thank you.
He's gonna come in. He's gonna come in heavy in a second.
I know you like spicy, so I got something for you to add to yours.
Okay.
I like spicy too.
Yeah, Walter likes spicy. So we got rice, we got sausage, we got a little crab meat, a little shrimp.
Perfect. And some drink.
And some drink. We got a little Patron on this Monday. This cold Monday, it's snowing outside.
This was perfect for this weather, wasn't it?
Yes. You did good. You did a good job.
So what was I at with what was I saying? Energy.
Energy, yes.
So you start to pay attention to these things. You're like, man, I drew that to me, or you could think negatively about something.
You really only need a pinch or something.
What's this, ghost pepper?
That's actually a homemade Carolina Reaper bus from Carolina Ghost Fresh Pepper.
Pinch like that?
Yeah, if you like spicy, that should do it for you.
She said just a pinch.
I just do a little pinch.
You need anything else?
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, we got a little crawfish in here too. I didn't even see the crawfish.
It'll work.
And chicken.
Gumbo. She'll get my business again.
Man, what?
So energy. I started paying. I read this book and it was real deep. It kept saying the same thing.
Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all done started eating away, baby. I don't mean to interrupt, but we gotta say our grace. Bow your head. We country around here. Now we thank you for our food, Father God, we thank you. Father God, we thank you. Amen. Amen. Now we on energy. Look, I'm like your little sister. I'm gonna interrupt you when you talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so the energy, man, it's like you start seeing that, you're like, man, you ever thought of something all day and it happens? And then you're like, yeah, I've been thinking about it. But you don't really pay it, you don't really give it any weight. You're like, whatever. You really are magnetic. I mean, I think God has left you everything that you need to make it. It's on you. We are not creators of anything. We are discoverers of everything.
Okay.
Anything that we can do now, we could have did millions of years ago if they had just discovered it. You know, it comes with time. It just comes with time. The elements have always been here. It got hot, huh?
It got hot real quick. She wasn't playing when she said a picture. Woo! Yeah, we just come to stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, Walter, to piggyback off of what you were saying about, you know, in high school you play football. My husband actually know all your stats.
Really?
DJ Kyle, he went to school with you. You're a couple of years older than him. You his sister Danielle's age. But yeah. So he talked about
Christenberry.
Yep, from Christenberry. See,
I
my
know.
family's from Christenberry.
I know them.
Yeah. So my whole family knew my husband, and I had no clue. So when I brought him in, I was like, "Wait, how y'all know him? We ain't family, are we?" But they lived down the street from us when I was a little girl before we moved to East Knoxville. So he talked very highly of you. He couldn't be here because the kids could not come. But yeah, your story is fascinating. So how did y'all two meet up? Where did this connect?
Even more fascinating.
Okay.
So I started chasing actors and actresses, and then they started coming out of nowhere. They started sharing about the potential of the movie, the book being out.
Wait. We skipping something because you was in prison for 13 years. Did you write the book
I started the book in prison.
in prison?
Yes.
And then when you came home, you finished it. So how did you get your opportunity to go from just writing it down to actually getting it published?
That all came with, again, what kind of books do you want to read while you're in prison? What kind of magazines do you want to read? I knew everything I wanted to do when I came home. I knew I was going through Amazon. I knew I'd be self-published. I knew all this.
So you taught yourself that in prison.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was like, okay, if you're going to do this, you got to start from scratch. This is just a film room. And Jeff knows the football lingo. They're a lot faster in person. Life is a lot more harsh in person. A lot of guys sit in prison. It's like Tupac used to say, penitentiaries are packed with promise makers. Never realize that the time that they're wasting. You understand what I'm saying? So I saw that firsthand in that. I'm going to do this when I get out. I'm going to do that when I get out. See the guys come right back 6-7 months later. You're like, what happened? Like, it ain't so easy out there. And I'm like, but I've been on both sides of the gate already. I just made a few dumb mistakes. It really isn't that hard over there. You stay out the way and do what you got to do. So that's where I was with it. Reading, learning the right types of books, put myself in the right. That's the art of law of attraction. I mean, I'm either gonna be this. You are what you eat. You know that phrase? You are what you read. You are what you watch. You are all of this. You know, there's a crowd for certain genres for a reason, because this is who these people are.
Okay.
Regardless of if it's a hood movie, hood novel, if it's a love story in the suburbs or in New York, or if it's a murder mystery, whatever. There's a crowd for everything, you know? So typically people all what they read, what they watch. That's what you like. If a person shows you that, you have to understand and believe it. So when I came home, I jumped right to it. Straight to publishing, straight to everything. It took me,
That's wild.
it took me a year to get everything just formatted, done on computer, everything right. But, yeah, excuse me, this will be edited.
No, this is hot. I feel you.
I know there's a sneeze coming on. There it is. I'll be able to get that too. They got good gumbo.
No, this not on the menu. This is just for you because you asked for it.
Make sure they get that.
Yeah, no, because she's not open on Monday. This is totally, she's doing me a favor.
Well, we appreciate that.
I hit her up and asked her, could she make gumbo? She said, yep. She'll make it for us, and she let me use her establishment.
She's super cool.
Yeah.
So, when I started chasing actors and actresses, they started popping up left and right. And I met a lady in person. And then I'd say a week or so after, she texts me and says that she has a producer, and she has me an email that they had shared and said that he could do some things and he'd be interested in taking a look at it. So I could be this guy here.
Wow, so
we all
networking.
yes, networking. So we all got together at Gettysburg Country Club. I met him, his son Jeff, and his daughter-in-law Sierra, who's a director who we plan on having to direct the movie we're doing now. So I mean, ever since we got started, he's come on, he's done help with auditioning. He's been at the signing last week. He's come on and been support, but he's been a mentor too. Because some of the times when I'm like in the audition room, I lean on him a little bit, like, hey, what do you think? Then I'll speak, kind of like see if we're thinking the same. I can respect where he's been, what he's done, you know. So he's been a great help.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What made you take your chances with Walter, with him, you know, knowing his background, he's a bad guy, you know, I'm using air quotes, because, you know, just the vision that somebody would have of a young man coming out of prison in 13 years. What would make you put everything you have behind him?
Well, I need to go back a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Why I thought about him was in 2006 I got in the industry, entertainment industry. I got divorced and got laid off. And somebody talked to me about getting in the industry. I got in as an actor first, but my background is business and sales and basically what producers do. It's just a business. You know, I found out, hey, this is just a business, and this is our brand, and this is how we market it. And so I personally did feature films, 2 feature films, about 2 years after I got in the industry, because I like both sides of the camera. I like being an actor because I've been in Tyler Perry's Medea's Witness Protection. I was in Jaws. I did some. Oh yeah, you gotta watch that one.
Oh yeah, I like Witness Protection.
You seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen Medea. I done seen every
So
Medea.
you done seen him?
Didn't even
That was
know.
Boss.
You know what? I said you look familiar.
That's it.
Shut up! You done brought me with famous people. You didn't even tell me. I ain't got no.
Yeah. So it was fun, you know. And so, you know, when I was in the industry, still in the industry, but I was around a lot of great actors. Baldwin, I would learn a lot on sets. I stood in for Richard Gere, Steve Martin,
Shut
all this
up.
stuff, you know, and it's kind of like I find out and learn about, you know, all this stuff in the industry and how they put together stuff, and did a bunch of classes, and fast forward, I worked as an agent for about 3 years in New York, opened up an office there and covered the South, about 300 actors, and then I moved to LA because my 3 sons lived in LA and got them in the industry as well. And so, but I had some projects I personally wanted to do, and so I ended up, fast forward here in Knoxville last summer. I was working on a documentary of Ken Sparks and Carson Newman, and putting together a feature film and then a Christmas film we're doing right now. But Jill contacted me on Facebook and said, hey, I got this guy that's got a great story. He's in prison, he's got this book called The Devil's Deceit, and would I take a look at it? And so I contacted my daughter-in-law and my oldest son, who does music and he scores films and things like that. Said, hey, because we decided we wanted to work together. NativeWindMedia.com is our group, and then Double J Productions is mine.
You just drop that in the comments.
Yeah. And so we got together and I said, hey, I got this project, and I actually called Walter. He told me the story, and I said, hey, this has got some good foundations to it. You know, it's got a great story. It's original, and it's about a person. And a lot of people love stories like that. They want to hear what's happened in their life. You know, a lot of these shows now, everybody wants to see these reality shows. They want to see their lives. They want to see train wrecks. You know, and but they want to see people overcome great things. And so I'm about my slogan for my Double J Productions is purpose-driven entertainment. Something that brings people to the next level, encourage people, and inspire people to the next level, and find a relationship with Christ and about eternity. You know, that's all it's about. You know, you die, you end up in eternity. Some places you better find out what your purpose is. And so we got together and he said, hey, let's go. I mean, he's a moving a shoe. I mean, he goes. He's like, it's hard to, stay with him. He put together this, obviously the book, but he started doing the screenplay. And then we talked to my daughter-in-law. He's going to look at it and kind of whatever he wants to do with that. But then we started doing some auditions and talking to some people and finding some local talent that are really talented. I mean, they really have some opportunity.
Yeah.
To be or not to be? I'm mad at him.
Well, I mean,
Look.
It is to be.
Everybody has a spot in this industry. I'm telling you, I've been commercials. I've done hundreds of commercials. Everybody can be in this industry because everybody has a look. Everybody has a certain thing that they can do that can bring themselves to this industry. And so I just like putting together projects. It's like sports. You have a coach puts together his assistant coaches, puts together a team, offense, defense, and you all do your own project. You do your own job, what you're supposed to do. That's what actors do. You have a director, you have a producer, you have assistant director, you have a gaffer, you have a lighting crew, you got the sound guy, and they all do their project to their best, and then it ends up puts together a great story, great film. That's how great stories happen. And there's always a thing that's in this industry. It's called script is king. If you've got a great story, it'll work itself out. If it's a great story, if it's a terrible story, it's going to be a terrible film. But if it's got a good script, if it's got a good story, then you'll find out that it'll work. So it's moving. It's going forward. And love to be a part of it, and help them do it, and whatever we can do to get it done.
That is dope. That is amazing. Like, you just never know who you entertaining. Because when I first saw you, I would have never in my wildest dreams guessed. You look like you somebody just the way you was dressed with that leather coat on and them
I
boots.
always got the Richard Gere. Richard Gere.
Yeah.
And then I got to meet him, and it's like, oh, you're me. Oh, no, I'm just playing you for today. That's it.
Chivago.
Huh?
I hear that one a lot.
Chivago guy.
They're like, you want to do the Chivago
Commercial
guy?
Chivago. I always get that.
That is dope. You just never
Actually, I auditioned
know.
for it. I bet I didn't get it.
Really?
I'd be sitting there on Easy Street if I got that.
So what in the industry, you've been in the industry and you trying to break into the industry, what has been the hardest thing that y'all have found, with COVID and the pandemic and everything that's going on? What has been?
Nothing. My path is really already set. I think I'm a true believer of, I have my own relationship with God. I do feel like everybody needs a healthy balance of God and devil. You're not going to get away from sin. You're not going to get away from mess ups. It is what it is. So accept that and balance it. Say, okay, I know where I mess up at. I need to fix this. I need to get some balance there. I need to get more balance in my life in this area, and that area. Okay, you're going to sit here and try to find God. It's not going to happen. You're going to sit here and try to defeat the devil. It's not going to happen. You got to kind of you got to get in the middle and just how you got that they jump rope, you got to jump in there and just start skipping, you know what I mean? So, if you're weak in the sex area, weak in the greed area, hatred, these are your areas you got to work on. So, when I started selling cars, I started realizing that faith without works, asking God for stuff without, putting forth an effort, it really does show in all facets of life. Because without a down payment, sometimes you're just not going to get approved for things,
Right.
But
So
the bank
you
will
sell
give
cars
you,
now.
absolutely. And the bank will give it to you. Just like God will give you your blessings. If you're doing the right thing in life. I'm not perfect, but he sees the effort. When I say he, people like, okay, there's a being out there. Some people look at it as good energy, bad energy. However you want to look at it, whatever makes you better, and you start to walk more upright, okay, we can ride with that. I'm with that, I support that. may not fully agree with all the beliefs, but it doesn't really matter. That's not what it comes down to. That's more of the devil using God against us. That's how he plays. He's tricky like that too. He'll take God and use him against us. He even told my character, he's like, you know, you can do godly things, just make sure I get seen in it too. Make sure I get some of this credit. You want to go out there and donate to the kids and all that? Make sure the whole world sees you, because the Bible says don't toot your own horn about it. The devil's like, I don't care what you go do in God's name. You see the churches, you see all this, go make that money, but do it in my name. See, the devil's crafty. I'm going to let you do what you want to do, but we also have to realize we are our own worst enemies. It isn't necessarily the devil or this negative energy, it's what we give into. A full-blown real Satanist is somebody who just necessarily gives into their sins. I mean, gives into their unnatural ways. You know, it's just like, I don't care about consequences. It is what it is. This is what I'm doing. It's unnatural, but it is me. You know, the whole outward approach to things of people saying, "Oh, we worship the devil," this and that. Yeah, I really kind of doubt that. You know, because you can't really sell your soul to any. I mean, I've never seen my soul. You've never seen your soul. So how are you going to sell it? You know. So the concept of the story is the way that you live. This is where it's mostly at. It's mostly in your head. You know, the devil gets into your head and makes you feel like, okay, these people don't love you. There's no other way out. You got to do this. If I was you, I'd go rob this bank, or we're going to sleep under the bridge tonight. It gives you these alternatives with alternatives that make it seem like, yeah, that's the only way to go. So when he puts his character in that situation, there's really no other way to turn. He doesn't have a home. He doesn't have nowhere to go. He's laid up in a hospital hurting. He's giving up his faith. He's like, man, this is what your God is giving you? You praise your God all the time. This is what he's giving you. You laid up in the hospital almost dead, you know, and that's when he starts to finesse it. He finesses him real good about the Bible. But what I wanted to do a lot was when I was in prison, I used to go to a lot of different religious faction groups and things and listen to their services. And I'd be like, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I want to put that in the book, put this in the book. And it felt like the law of attraction was working then. Remember I spoke about the law of it felt like everything I needed was coming to me. I mean, it felt like I even had a hedge around me while I was in prison. I won't sit here in front and act like I was in the worst of the worst prisons or anything like that.
Where were you at?
I was in federal prison, so I did time in Manchester, Lexington, Ashland. I did get into a little scrap down there, so I got sent to Pollock, Louisiana, which was actually a lot cooler than the spots that I was in. You're not around a lot of people that you know, so it's kind of like you just lay back and just do you know? Mm-hmm. But the law of attraction, it felt like I knew this was what it was going to be. Once I set my mind on it, it felt like something clicked, like nothing was going to stop it. I mean, I go read the newspaper, things will pop up, you know. I go read a magazine, things will pop up. I'd be talking to somebody, something will pop up that I can use. And it just kept happening like that. I'm like, man, everything that people read in this book that I just so happen to bring for you.
Oh, my own copy?
Yeah. There
That
it
was
is.
the thing. It's on Amazon,
And I
y'all.
signed that for you.
What did it say? You put a message.
I did.
Let me see.
Okay.
Where is that? What are you signing at? In the back.
I always find the author page.
Now, who's going to babysit so I can read it? Oh,
Even K.
this is going to be worth some money. Hey, I would never sell it.
You better not. You better not.
So, Walter, where do you see yourself back in 10 years? If y'all can believe it, we've been actually on here for almost 30 minutes.
We don't even need a 10-year plan. I think in the next 3 years I'll be here.
3 years.
I don't see anything small with this. I swear.
Are you naturally cocky?
Yes.
No, you're not. I'm not saying like in a bad
Very
way,
confident,
but you
yes.
confident.
Extremely confident in myself. Yes, my brother tells me there's nobody else that he knows with more confidence. But the thing of it is, you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're gonna go out here and kick this field goal. You gonna go. Kobe Bryant may not be the best basketball player I've ever seen, but he is the most admirable basketball player I've ever seen. I'll take all the last shots. I feel that way. You know, I tell Kamari when we talk all the time, I say, you know, I got this. I'm going to make sure that your kids never need anything else after this year. I told my mom, you'll never work after this year again. I really mean that. I have no kids. But I mean that, though. I really do mean it. Jeff's going to run all this. You know, his kids are going to come. We're going to be highly successful. I'd like to push 3-4 movies out a year. I'd like to build things. I'd like to invest. I'd like to do it. All these things are the things that I learned when I was in prison. It felt like God was giving me this person to learn from. And the last cellmate I had was from Ohio, and all he did was drill me, drill me, drill me. That's really a terrible. That's
Well,
that is a horrible way to put it.
no, he instilled in you.
He instilled in my mind.
Yeah, mentally. That's for the next show, guys.
You gotta add that part. That's hilarious.
That's for the late night.
I got a cellmate that used to drill me, like, oh God. But anyway, he would give me all this information, invest in this, do that. I'm like, and I'd soak it up. But man, I met a lot of millionaires in federal prison. People who've stolen 50, 60, 70 million dollars, and they are literally sitting on that kind of money just waiting to go home to it. And they would talk to me. They would literally sit and talk to me. White, black, they would all talk to me. I'm like, man, here's my mentor. They just come. I swear, just the way he came.
Well, you're very easy to talk to. You make me feel comfortable.
Well, it's real.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been solid, just straightforward. And I think that me being from where I was from in Knoxville, I mean, I grew up in a lot of different areas here. But going into that prison environment, that really wasn't my environment. But I was always able to survive. You know, fighting, had fights, being able to stand on my own 2 feet, not needing people, being able to hustle in there. I was good to go, and I felt like, you know, I was discovering a lot about myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the strength that I really had in there. So the writing constantly, every day, drilling myself, boom, 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 learning from this person, learning from that people. Man, I've been locked up with, I was locked up with Gotti, one of the Gotti brothers. You know, so I was locked up with Big Meech. All these people I'm just meeting.
Wow.
Literally meeting.
It's like, it gets better and better the more you talk.
Yeah, me and Meech, we were in the prison down there at Louisiana. I never spoke to that guy, but I always used to sit back and just watch how people would follow. And I was like 100 people would jump out there and follow this dude on the compound, just walk. I'm like, that's power. And it all spawns from money. You know, I'm like, this guy did this, that, whatever you did for your money, it's like people follow that, the bravado. If Hitler can get a hold of the nation to kill for him, you know, what can I get people to do with that book if I get them to just believe in me? You know, you gotta walk it, you gotta move it. I've been rich for 15 years, you know, so the thing of it is, it's not really an issue to just move like that because it's already in my mind. I may be broke, I've been evicted, I lost cars, but at the same time, I'm like, it doesn't really matter. I'll be okay. I've never had more peace since I've been home. I've only been home 2 years and 7 months, maybe 8 months, and this is all happening. But I've never been more peaceful than when I got evicted, because I'd hit the rock bottom, and I was like, you can only go back up from here. You're okay. And that felt comfortable because that was putting me back in the mindset of prison. I was at the bottom there. See, people, you know, you can be from wherever, but I actually hit the bottom of the bottom where nobody wants to go, and still crawled out of that and still made it up. So my favorite story,
That's a testimony.
yeah, my favorite story in the Bible actually is of Joseph. That's my overall favorite story. He goes to prison, his people left him hanging and all that. He ends up being the man, you know, the head honcho, you know, Pharaoh's right man. And you're like, but the most beautiful part about that story is forgiveness. And that's what I wanted to put into this story, is because the devil works your mind like that. I felt like I got left behind by my family and friends. I'd write them, constantly say, write me. And they never would. You know, so I held grudges for a long time. But some of those grudges actually pushed me to do that book. It's ironic, and I'll admit this, I actually wrote that book as an anti-Christian book because I was having faith issues, you know? But it's kind of funny that what is meant for bad, I mean, what you do for bad is always kind of meant for good, and how that got turned around. That's when I knew that there was a bigger power than me, because I really was not feeling any kind of religion at all. I felt my life was going wrong. I didn't feel like I was done right by God. I was like, man, this is bull. And then the devil, I felt like, was talking to me, but maybe it was God talking to me, saying maybe people feel this way, and it's your chance to get that message out there so you can have an open dialogue about it, you know?
Wow, so let me ask you this. With you being locked up in writing and reading, do you think that's why, because you do not, I'm telling you, I done talked to a lot of people out of prison, and one thing on my bucket list was to talk to someone who served 10 plus years in prison. I have a brother in prison doing 52 years. So I wanted to talk to someone who's been there to see what my brother is going through mentally. But to me, you don't talk like any other person I've ever talked to that's been locked up. You sound so free and like.
I really do have faith in God. I know some people say they do. I really do. I don't worry about nothing. It's nothing that's going to stop. I mean, you see, I got a whole mentor that's been a Tyler Perry, but that's my idol.
That's
My
crazy.
the person I'm chasing in life for the last 10 years. I mean, I have set my sights on that man and said, I'm going to pass you. I'm going to pass you. It's going to happen. And then you send me somebody who's been in this movie. It's unbelievable what the law of attraction can really do for you. I mean, Rhonda Byrne put a book together, put all these people, and I'm seeing that there's so many places to live in Knoxville, on the river, mansions everywhere. I'm buying the biggest house in Tennessee. I'm buying that house too. I speak that. I've already told the owner. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I'm gonna buy your house. He's already sold it, so back on the market. $9 million. I'm buying that house.
Oh, I see
Watch what I
that.
tell you. The law of attraction is real because you got to understand all these people out here who are making things happen, they had a vision and they stuck to it. They attracted all this success to them some kind of way. Somehow they did. What is any different about me? I've always been good at things. I've always been good at talking to people. Ray Huffaker gave me a job at Kia, which is also helping with the movie. He's going to be one of our sponsors. People don't even know that. We're solid when it comes to
Oh
money.
my God.
We're solid. We're going to show all the kids in the movie and all that. We're going to do it tastefully, though. It's not going to be a big commercial. But when he gave me a job, it came 3 days after I threw a stapler at my manager and got fired. Didn't get the police called on me. I go sell my book to my buddy. He wants 2 copies, one for his wife, one for him. And the owner's there. He buys a book and one of the managers buys it. That's 4 books in 10 seconds I sell. Because I jumped right back to the hustle. I had to sell books. I had to eat, right? I got a job by a multi-millionaire. He said, I like the way you talk. I like the way you move. I like your story. I'll give you a job. And I haven't turned back since. I've just been able to, it's in me to get to this next level, especially from where I've come from. I know I'm not just a guy talking about it. I actually really did that. Like I really actually went into the trenches, survived it. You know, I mean, there was some moments. If they did a movie on my life, they'd be like, man, that was a wild trip there. You know, I mean, there's been moments on the football field. There's been standoffs. There's been knives. There's been people stabbed. A close buddy of mine airlifted out of there. You know, I mean, you just see these things, but you have to keep pushing forward. Somehow you find that strength. Somehow you just find that strength deep down inside, and you know what that strength is. You can deny it all you want to. You know what it is. It's that highest creator, the God force in you. You know, He's giving you everything to fight with already. It's just for you to pull it out. And that's why the Bible's so integral still to this day. Those stories are powerful. You know, if you see men standing in fire, whether you believe it or not, it's still telling you something. You know, and I use all those stories allegorically in my life to say, okay, I was in the belly of a whale. I stood in the fire. You know, I kept my faith. I didn't deny. I kept my faith. I believed in what was in me. I stood strong. And now I reap the benefits like Job, 3 times what you had before you went in. My life is great. I mean, I got a great job. I got a great crew. I mean,
Awesome.
He's great. Kamari's great. Gina's great. We got a great squad. And we found, the actors that we found on the last one were great. We really did find some really good local talent. But I'm looking for my 2 leads. I need a lead for my devil, which I think I might have come really close. I think that last hit might have hit the wall. It might not have been a home run, but he got it to the wall. I think if we just straighten him up a little, he'll be a home run hitter. I think he's got a good look. I've got about 30 that I know are going to be in it so far. You know, so
Plus me, he's writing me in a part.
I can write her in, get her on. You have style. You have your own. You're your own person. And that's what I think it's about. I think that's why people like me, because I can be myself. I can turn it on, turn it off. You know. But some people say I'm mean. Some people say I'm nice. You have to believe all of it because I treat you accordingly. You know, if you're a jerk, I'll be a jerk to you. If you're good, I'll be good. I always say you're good until you're not. You know. So. And I think that's how we'll go moving forward.
We're coming up on 40 minutes. So look, you're going to have to come back for part 2. You're going to have to, both of y'all. Cause like you, I need you by yourself though. I need you by yourself. I'm right here with, I just can't even believe it, y'all. This has been one of my favorite interviews. You act like a car salesman. Cause look, you sold me. When I first shook your hand, you sold me. So, I loved it. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to let you say some final words and let you say some final words, and we're going to wrap it up. Just because you too, but push it out.
We love you too.
I'm gonna be rich too.
Absolutely.
By 35, I'm 30 now. By 35, I will be a millionaire.
How old are you now?
30.
Speak it.
35.
Well, you better speak it.
5 years.
You gotta speak it into it.
What's that ring from?
It's from Varsity, back national championship. It's quarterback.
It's crazy, huh?
Let me tell you something. My manager booked this video with you because she knows you. My manager is Candace Bond. And it's my first time never booking my own, interviews. But you are just so dope. Like your energy, both of y'all energy. This has been one of the.
This is the winning team right here.
Yes.
I can tell you that much right now. This right here
I
is
just
the
can't
winning
believe
team.
it.
This is the winning team. We're gonna turn the city upside down. I promise you. You give me 5 years total, this will be an upside down city. We got the platform right. We got the layout. This is a beautiful town, but the thing that annoys me most about it is nobody gives us enough respect. The whole time I was locked up, and I've said this once, I'll say it till the day I die. Where are you from? Chattanooga or Nashville? I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. We exist, so I mean, so many things. I've always been one of those, I'm an athlete, so I've always had that fire in me. You tell me, I'm only motivated when you tell me I can't do it. We're not gonna do good with stroke your ego. Oh, you're so great, you get complacent. Like Drake said, I heard somebody say I fell off. I needed that. I needed you to tell me I couldn't. So I'm actually looking for my next hater right now. I need somebody to come and say, you're not going to do good. Because sometimes I felt like I've slowed down some. I'm like,
but you're great though. You don't need that. That's that negative energy. You don't need that.
My new focus now is not letting the people around me down. They believe in me. That is an honor to have Kamari put so much of her life on it.
Now who's Kamari?
That's my assistant. She's been there since day one. But to have somebody like Jeff come on, Gina, they actually act. To have them come on and actually believe. I have no movies. I have no background. All I have is this book. I've not sold 1 million copies. I've not sold 10,000 copies of my book. The thing of it is, they've read the book. They feel the power. So that's like, okay, if people believe in you, you gotta show. You gotta come to play. It's like, I felt like I squandered a lot of opportunities in life's playing sports, and I will not do that again. And especially when nobody's coaching. I'm the coach. I call the plays. I'm the best player and the worst player on the team. So it's my job to stay on the best player, to stay on the worst player. To you look in the mirror every day and say, do you really want to do this? Because there's been times where I was like, I'd rather go out and drink. I can admit, I did all that time in prison. There's a good time is not a secret to me. There's never been a dull moment. Especially with the car wreck I had last summer. I almost died in a car wreck. If you showed that on there, that'd be crazy. I literally almost died. But this is what I was drunk on the night I died. I must have drank so much more than this bottle right here. But the craziest part about it, I stood beside the officer, right here beside me and you. And he simply asked if I had a ride home. Can you get home? Can you get somebody to come get you? And I called my best friend Craig. That's my little brother right there. I still see it to this moment. It gets me, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man. Because I stood at the overpass looking over like, oh, no, it's over, And I still got through that. I know there's a force. There's got to be some. I might be crazy. I might be losing it. I might just be tapped into. So something's walking me through this, I get an actor who's big. He knows people. He can do that. He can actually help this dream come true. I got people who actually put things together for me. I got a great job. I got a great scenery, great city. They all back me. You popped out of nowhere. You see it. You see it. This is a real testimony. It's like you're looking at a biblical story right in front of you. So it makes it makes you start to look back and think like, man, what do those stories really mean in the Bible? Because when you start living it, you're like, man, that might mean something else, man. I like the allegorical side of the Bible. I don't mind it. It still makes you better, But you got to look at what we're doing now. This is going to be written about. When this goes where I want it to go, people are going to write about all of this. You're going to be big, and they're going to look back and say, "Oh, that's the girl who interviewed him in that little." It's going. Oh man, that's the guy who. You see, and, we got interviews in Chattanooga, and it all comes together. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm just blessed to be in this position. It's crazy. It doesn't feel real. Sometimes I do feel like I died in that car wreck. I really do sometimes feel like I died in that because I hit that car and that wall hard. My whole car was destroyed. I'm talking radio in the back seat, papers everywhere, smushed the entire sideways. There's no way that I either walk away without injury or don't go back to jail that night. I didn't get either. He asked, do you have insurance? And the funniest part about that, I don't know if I told you this that night. Funniest part about that is he asked if I had my insurance. I walked in and I opened my back door. Papers were everywhere. Everywhere on the floor, right? The first damn paper I saw was insurance. Swear to God.
That gives me chills.
I swear to God. The first paper I looked at, it said, boom. I said, when I looked down, I said, there's no way I'm gonna find my insurance. He's gonna get suspicious. And be like, come here, man. Come here. Why you just hanging out in that car? I just know. I've been arrested. I know these scenes. I know. My dad was a cop. I know how this stuff plays out. So I'm in my mind. I'm a book writer too. I know how ugly this can be. You know, go over here fishing around. The only paper that, boom. Here you go, officer. He's like, all right, can you get a ride home? Right there, I knew. When I stood and looked at the city, I heard a voice at that time say, this is all yours. If you quit messing, you can have it. And my dad told me 2 days later. Well, actually, the next day when I got out of the hospital, because once the adrenaline came down, it was over. I was done. I really got beat up pretty bad. No critical injuries, right? So he's like, you know, the Pied Piper will come to collect eventually. You must know that. You can't keep skating through. You've skated through prison. You've skated through other situations. You've skated through this. Those skates get dull. You know, and how long you gonna keep? You know, so you just gotta realize that. Follow your intuition. That's your God speaking in you. Saying, do that. Don't do this. Do that. Move carefully. There's no way I'm supposed to. And the funniest part about that, I was coming from West Knoxville when I had that wreck, right? I never missed my Lexington exit, ever. I missed that exit and ended up coming way around downtown. I feel like there was something I was supposed to see. Just like when I went to prison, I felt like I was supposed to go see something to come home to prevent it. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Go see these people, black, white, Latino, whether you're from here or here. Go learn as much as you can, but also prevent people that you know from coming in here. So I feel like I have a purpose, a real purpose.
That's dope. Thank you, Walter Martin. The Devil's Deceit. You got anything you want to say?
Hey, just get behind this and think about what you can do for your purpose. You know,
Absolutely.
Everybody's got a story. Everybody can help everybody. Don't look at yourself. Look at others. Helping others. You know, so I'm just glad to be a part of it. So.
And now I'm so glad you came. Thank you. And we're going to get out of here. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and we're going to put all the information at the bottom. Shout out to Young Boss, IDK. They do their thing.
That was good stuff right there.
Yeah, that's
See me
spicy
sweating.
though.
I was sweating.
You was.